It's precisely 1:15. This is the news on Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News is edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Sabrina Zawahir. First, the headlines. More public and private sector workers are to be vaccinated by this weekend. Principal of a madrasa school arrested for abetting lawyer Hijaz Hezbollah. The highest COVID-19 death toll was reported yesterday. Another 211 tourists arrived from Kazakhstan. The highest number of drunken drivers were arrested from the Anuradhapura district. And in world news, UN chief calls for fair distribution of vaccines. Now the local news in detail. Acting Health Minister Professor Channa Jayasumana says employees of public and private sectors in the areas where the COVID-19 inoculation drive was carried out but have not been vaccinated yet will receive the jabs this weekend. He noted that COVID-19 vaccination program will go ahead today as well. Inoculation commenced at selected Grama Niladhari divisions yesterday. However, there was a lack of public participation at several areas, the acting health minister added. Accordingly, people aged between 30 to 60 years in identified Grama Niladhari divisions within the following medical officer of health jurisdiction can receive the vaccine today. Colombo District, Kolonava, Gotatua, Moratuwa, Egoda Uyana and Hanwella, Kaltara District, Agalavatta, Bandaragama, Panadura, Horana and Matugama, Gampaha District would be Gampaha, Atanagalla, Nigambo, Sidua, Mahara, Biagama, Vattala, Minuangoda, Ragama, Jayala, Kalania, Katana, Divulapitia and Dompe. The coordinating officer of the Attorney General stated Mohammed Shakil, the principal of a madrasa school, has been arrested for conspiring and abetting Hijaz Hezbollah. The Attorney General yesterday directed the Inspector General of Police to report facts and produce Mohammed Shakil before a relevant magistrate's court for abetting on charges under the Prevention of Terrorism Act and International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights Act. This news is brought to you by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
HDFC Smart Goals. All it takes is 3 years.
Continuing local news, the epidemiology unit says that the overall COVID cases reported from the country is at 77,906. 71,176 patients have been recovered. Sri Lanka recorded the highest number of COVID deaths yesterday, which was 13. Therefore, the overall COVID deaths has risen to 422. At present, 6,321 COVID patients are receiving treatment in hospitals. Police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana says that 100,310 drunken drivers have been taken into custody during the last 1.5 years. The most such drivers were taken into custody from the Anuradhapura district. Therefore, 6,690 cases were reported from the Anuradhapura district, 4,999 from Hatton and 3,685 from Kurnagal areas were taken into custody. With that, we conclude the local news. The main news story follows.
Darling, our daughter has top O-level results. Do you know what this means?
Yes, just 3 years and she'll be going abroad for her degree.
For which we'll need a bank loan.
But is a normal loan the smartest option?
What else?
The smartest way is to start an HDFC Smart Goals account.
Let your child begin their degree with no delays. Start an HDFC Smart Goals account. Call 2356 888.
Honey, you're so smart.
HDFC Smart Goals. All it takes is 3 years.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidya Mahatmya in every home.
The main news
story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The airport sources say that another group of tourists from Kazakhstan arrived at the Mattala airport today. Accordingly, 211 tourists arrived in the island. That came to you in our main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
In Watchlight, Governor of the Eastern Province, Anuradha Yahampath, says that members are being recruited for the training task of elephant fence, which is established to control the human-elephant crisis in the Eastern Province. That came to you in Watchlight. A bulletin of world news follows.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
The headlines of the world news: UN chief calls for fair distribution of vaccines. Deaths mount as winter storm leaves millions without power. Strong decline in coronavirus across England since January, React study shows. Now the world news in detail. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has criticized what he calls the wildly uneven and unfair global distribution of coronavirus vaccines. Guterres spoke at an online meeting of the Security Council on Wednesday that was chaired by British Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab. The UN chief noted that just 10 countries have administered 75% of all vaccines, while more than 130 have not received a single dose. He urged UN member states to support the COVAX facility, a framework run by the World Health Organization and other bodies to ensure fair distribution of the vaccines. A huge winter storm sweeping across the southern U.S. has killed at least 21 people and left millions without power. There have been widespread blackouts in Texas, where the energy grid was overwhelmed by a surge in demand. Millions of people in the state, which rarely experiences such low temperatures, have been struggling to cope with the lack of power and frigid conditions. There has been a strong decline in levels of coronavirus infections in England since January, say scientists tracking the epidemic. Imperial College London's React study found infections have dropped by 2/3 across England since lockdown began, with an 80% fall in London. But virus levels are still high, with 1 in 200 testing positive between 4th and 13th of this month. This is similar to levels seen in late September 2020. That ends World News. Prior to concluding, the headlines of the World News once again. UN chief calls for fair distribution of vaccines. Deaths mount as winter storm leaves millions without power. Strong decline in coronavirus across England since January, React study shows. With that, we conclude the world news. Next up is the development news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
In development news, Minister of Plantations Dr. Ramesh Pathirana said the Galle Harbour was cold-shouldered for many centuries and plans are now underway to develop it and convert it into a major revenue generator for Sri Lanka. He said that plans are underway to convert Galle Harbour to a tourist harbour, anticipating future development of tourism. That ends development news. Next up is the sports news. Taking a look at the sports news, Sports Minister Namal Rajapaksa says measures will be taken to provide artificial running tracks for all the provinces in the island. He said arrangements have been made to construct artificial running tracks with 8 lanes in all provinces. Action will also be taken to provide this facility to the Kurunagala and Kandy Bogambara playgrounds as well. He said the objective of this move is to provide opportunities for the sportsmen and women in rural areas to enhance their sports talents. That was sports news. The business news follows.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Gulf Air, the national carrier of the Kingdom of Bahrain, resumed its direct operations to and from Colombo's Bandaranaike International Airport with 2 weekly flights starting from February 15th. This is on its new Airbus A320neo aircraft. Gulf Air has been operating direct flights between the Kingdom of Bahrain and Sri Lanka since 1981, and it is one of the airline's main destinations in the Indian subcontinent region. That ends business news.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of
Business deals now easy. It just takes a few taps only. Anytime, get it done, all connected. Best discounts with real time. LOLC Real Time. Now download LOLC Finance Real Time app for your LOLC savings account. Attractive interest rates, transactions anytime, anywhere with a zero cost and more benefits.
A project to create new farmlands for the promotion of local dairy production. The Ministry of Agriculture says that discussions were held with 3 plantation companies in this regard. It is hoped to produce 100,000 litres of dairy milk daily within 3 years. The government spends annually for the import of milk powder, which is 55 billion rupees. That was economic news.
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down. Everything is sorted. Why? I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Finally, it's a look at the weather report. The Met Department says few showers may occur in eastern coastal areas. Showers or thunder showers will occur in few places, that's in Sabaragamuwa, central, Uva and southern provinces during the evening or night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere over the island. Misty conditions can be expected at some places such as central, Sabaragamuwa and Uva provinces and in Gaul and Mathura districts during the morning. That was the weather report. Prior to concluding this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. More public and private sector workers are to be vaccinated by this weekend. Principal of a madrasa school arrested for batting lawyer Hijaz Hezbollah. The highest COVID-19 death toll was reported yesterday. Another 211 tourists arrived from Kazakhstan. The highest number of drunken drivers were arrested from the Anuradhapura district. With that, we conclude the news and over to my friend and certainly yours as well. Niranjan is all geared up to keep you entertained with a wonderful collection of lunchtime music. Over to you, Niranjan.